Hello, this is Angelia with today's wisdom. Today's wisdom comes from Daily Om, Gift of Solitude. When isolation is okay, and it's always okay with me. You hear? Listen. I don't hear that when the guys are all here. It gets rather loud. So, to me, alone is okay because I get peace and quiet. We all need time alone, and we do. People who don't want to be alone with themselves, it's usually because they don't want to think about something in their life or about themselves, and so they have a problem being alone. They want to be busy, they want people around, they want to keep their mind not thinking. Even those of us who are social butterflies need some time to ourselves. That's true. We all need some downtime to refresh and reboot. Solitude is necessary for meditation and quiet reflection. Of course it is. I used to try and meditate with the guys here, in the evening, and that just did not work. So I moved that time to the morning. It eats up some of my morning, but I can actually get it done. We may also choose to isolate ourselves when we are busy and need to meet a deadline. And I've done that before. And I've felt bad about it, because, if the kids were younger and they want to talk to me about something, and I'll say, wait a minute, and then I'll finish what I was doing and come back and, say, okay, what was that? And then later on, I was like, man, I could have just stopped, I didn't have to make them wait, even a minute. But, we all do that in parenting, and then we look back, as they say, hindsight's 2020. We may cherish time alone when we want to give ourselves over to art or music, lose ourselves in a good book, or delve into a personal project. And of course, most of us do enjoy doing stuff like that. Having time to ourselves allows us to focus completely on our yoga practice or get into the zone while running or strength training. And again, I used to try and do that in the evening from 7 to 8. And basically my guys would interrupt me and make fun of me, so I moved that to the morning as well. So, I have a pretty full morning. I'm, not really moving around till early afternoon. Sometimes we need to be alone to simply do nothing, but enjoy the sound of silence. Like I said, listen. Our alone time revitalizes and replenishes us, grounding us in our own company. And you should be your own best friend. If you're not, you need to get to know yourself and become your own best friend. Yet, too much isolation, especially when our intention is to hide, withdraw, or not deal with the realities of our lives, is not physically, mentally, or spiritually healthy. And it's not. And there are people who do that. Like I said, there are people who don't want to be alone because they don't want to think about themselves. But there are people who also withdraw because they don't feel good about themselves and they don't want others to be involved in their life. My own husband has struggled with this kind of thing, and usually it's depression. I'm basically isolated because I have no choice because I don't have a car anymore. So if I want to go out, hop in the car, I can't do it. So, but I still get out and do things and have a life. So, it is during moments like these when being in isolation takes us away from our lives rather than enhancing it. And that's true. If you're giving up something that you like to do or giving up your social circle, usually that indicates that there's a problem. If anything, too much isolation can create a buffer whereby we don't have to deal with our problems. Because, you don't. If you're hiding somewhere, there are people with agoraphobia, and I've had it in the past, where you don't want to get out. You don't want to deal with other people. You just want to hide in your house, because then that way you don't have to deal with anything. You hide in your house, and, you're afraid of everyone. So that's how you deal with it. Sometimes pushing ourselves to deal with our issues and be in our lives rather than isolate is one of the best gifts we can give to ourselves. And I did that for myself. And my children helped me greatly because when my kids were little and my oldest was getting ready to start school, I said, I can't be like this. I can't be a dysfunctional mother who's too scared to talk to a teacher or whoever. And so I ended up going to therapy and group and, becoming a functional mother for my children because I wanted them to have that, Also, just as it is important for us to have our alone time, we need to remember that as human beings, we are by nature social creatures that thrive on human contact. And you do, even if you think you're a loner, just think about a time when you were out with friends having fun and y'all were having a blast. I mean, we love that. We thrive on that. So, there's no such real thing as a loner unless you make yourself one. Our lives cannot occur in a vacuum, and we cannot fully live in this world without interacting with others. Because you can't. Every time you leave the house, there's other people there. And that's why some people choose not to. But, if you're comfortable in your own skin and, you know what you're doing and what you're about, then, let's see, put this nicely. Who cares what others think? Who cares what others are up to? You won't. Consider using isolation as time spent for rest, reinvigoration, and personal growth. And we all need these things. We all need to rest sometimes. We need to reboot, as I call it, sometimes. And we need to grow as people because we're going to be constantly growing as people for all of our life if you let yourself. Now, if you stop yourself from growing, then my opinion on that, you're ignorant. But, you're going to be learning and growing all your life. Isolation can then not only empower you, but it can allow you to return to your work and your relationships restored and ready for life. And like I said, some of us, we just need downtime more than others. Some need less downtime. I'm a little quicker at that than, other people I know. So it just depends. But, sometimes you need to give yourself the gift of solitude because sometimes isolation is okay to get your head together, your heart together, if you're going through some problems there. So, it's important sometimes. Think about it. That's all for now.